Share screen. Get rid of all this.
Boy, look at all that stuff you have on your desktop.
Yeah, this is what your desktop should look like, by the way. If you well organized. So I'm gonna go here. Today we're going to talk about editing, and you often hear the term that you'll hear a lot of people claiming you get it right in the camera. I don't believe that. There are things that you have to get right in the camera. Focus is probably the main one. If you don't get the focus right, you can't correct that in post-processing. You can fake it a little bit, but if you look at it closely, it doesn't happen. So today I'm going to show about editing in Photoshop, and there's going to be some follow-up classes with Kevin and Amy and myself on editing as we go through the years or months, and I should say weeks. And so, but I chose Photoshop because several of you use it. I wish John Boland was here because I know he does for sure. And just about everything that you do in Photoshop for editing, it's very similar to any other editors. There's so having said that, what are the three, for those who were here last week, who should really know this, what are the three non-negotiable parameters for photography? Can anybody tell me? Nobody watched it last week?
Yeah.
Somebody can surely name one,
Focus.
right? And there's two more,
Light.
meaning exposure, right?
Yeah.
Yes, exposure.
Composition.
Exactly.
Yeah, composition.
So, like I said, in post-processing or editing, you can adjust or make up for or create new composure, and you can adjust exposure and light parameters and color, because the camera doesn't necessarily see things the way you do or the way you want it to see them. So, okay, yeah, like we said, you have to have composure, exposure, and focus. Today, like I said, we're just going to talk about Photoshop, and coming soon to a Zoom class near you, as Amy is going to do portraitures and editing in with a smartphone, and Doug, Kevin, and myself have upcoming presentations on Lightroom Classic. So what are the basic editing tools? Anybody want to come up with a couple? Can you tell me?
Cropping.
Yes, that's one. That's a basic one.
Lighting.
Yes,
Color.
yes. Well, those are basically the three we'll be working with today. What does the cropping tool allow you to do? Anybody want to tell me?
Change the
Change the size of the zooming.
Yeah, that's
better
right.
photo.
That's
Cropping
alternative
out.
framing. You can change a picture from horizontal to portraiture to landscape. I prefer those terms.
Cropping out noise or little things.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, like Jeff said, we learned so much from Jeff. He said the edges and corners are sacred ground in a photo.
Mhm.
So if there's on the right side of a photo, if there's the edge of a tree, that's not really appealing. So you could crop it so that tree isn't showing, for example. Now, oh, by the way, for those of you that missed it earlier, you're not going to die by PowerPoint today. I only have 10 slides, but they're 10 minutes each. No, so we're going to be going into demos here. Exposure compensation, we're going to see, you're going to see how that's done in Photoshop today. And so what, for those, at least one person tell me, what does exposure compensation mean to you?
The lighting, how much light?
Yeah, how bright, like, for example, we have our cameras are incredibly, are incredible compared to what they were just even 10 years ago, as Alan can tell you, and several other people have got new cameras. It's amazing the results you get. The metering, focusing, the sensors are so much better, but still, even though with the auto exposure, it can be fooled. It can be fooled by a bright sky. It can be fooled by something that's too dark or whatever. And so your image out of the camera may need adjustment because of that. And of course, contrast is another tool. Technically, we're remapping the image intensities from black to white, so that you get those sharp differences. Now these, now white balance, we're not going to discuss, we're not going to use really, we're not going to cover white balance today. We'll have a class on that in the future.
Good.
Don't want to clog your mind up with white balance today. So let's zoom to demonstrations. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Okay, here. Let's see, end show. Close this. Oh, doesn't want to close very easily. Okay. So now, okay. I have 4 folders here. Folder number 1, folder number 2, and what are the next 2?
3 and 4.
Very good. Well, you've all passed. You can go home. No, there's only one. I didn't want you to see all the pictures at once that we're going to work with. Then there's just, so we're going to work with 4 different photos today. And the first one, it was inspired by Alan on a photo he did, very similar to something he did at Toscano Gardens. So here's photo 1, and it needs a lot of work. What do you think it needs?
Needs to be brightened.
Well, let's take it into Photoshop. I think it's, I haven't used a Windows computer for a while, but I think it's the same thing. You just click and open with. So well, let's open it up in Photoshop and see what happens. I got to move this out of the way. Okay. Take your time. Photoshop. Okay. All right, so here we go. We've got this photo here. And now the different tools we talked about, it's going to be hard to do them in any certain order, and it varies from picture to picture. So though there's 2 ways you could do this. You can go edit, image adjustments, brightness and contrast, and you can change the brightness. And somebody tell me about where they think it should be.
Right,
Right about
Right.
there?
yeah.
Okay, and how about contrast? It's already pretty contrasty, so what do you think? Should it just be neutral, or should it be a little this way or a little this way?
Oh,
leave it alone.
That's what she said.
Well, yeah, the original.
Okay, yeah. So we've pretty much taken care of brightness and contrast. Now, what I want to cover next, almost next, is the cropping. But before we do, I'm going to show you a better way to do this in Photoshop. And that is over here, you can create adjustment layers. And the first one, brightness contrast. So now it's creating a mask. And so I can turn this off, turn this on. Wait, I'm sorry. And I click here and I get basically the same thing. Or I can adjust the brightness, what we just did. But the advantage of this is these layers mean you can turn them on or off. You turn it back off. And you can also color balance. I said we weren't going to talk about white balance. In a way, this is color balance. Now, it's not quite the same as white balance, but you can adjust various colors.
Mhm.
Okay, and I think the colors came out pretty good on this the way it was.
Mhm.
Wouldn't everyone agree?
yes.
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 So I'm going to make it stupid. Like there's no way you'd want it this way, but okay. But now I just shut off that layer and don't use it.
Mhm.
Okay. You've got this is just exposure alone. I don't know why they have a separate one, but they do. Let me add, this is one I like, the tone curve. The tone curve is, they have the default here, and you can do it with all the colors. RGB is red, and what is G and B?
Green and blue.
Very good. Okay, and I kind of like, with most pictures, medium contrast. Okay, but again, I can shut that off or add it. So I could save this as a TIFF file before I make a JPEG out of it, and save that TIFF file and come back anytime and say, oh, gee, I don't like what I did with this. I'm going to do it differently. This makes it non-destructive editing versus over here, which would be destructive. So now that we've done those adjustments, let's get this out of the way. And for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and keep what I've got here. So I will, to keep what I've got, I can flatten the image. Now, when I flatten it, I'm going to lose all these. I'm going to use them all, but they'll be all gone. It's so we're back to just the layer that we saw.
Mhm.
So let's talk about cropping. Anybody have any cropping suggestions for this?
You take out the tree on the right.
Okay, the cropping tool is over here. That's what it looks like. It puts a frame around it. And so let's take out that tree. How far should I go? Maybe here?
No.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
back and look to the right. That's good. Yeah.
What about top and bottom?
Bring the top down a little bit.
Okay.
And then bottom up just a bit, take out this little leaf on the right corner. Right, yeah,
Oh, okay.
that looks good.
All right. So I'm going up here and check it. So
Mm.
that's one crop. What else could we do with this? Alan, what could we do?
Well, you could crop in the from the left side in to where you've only got, yeah. Just,
This is what Alan did. He did a really good job with this. He had 2 photos, very similar, right, Alan?
right?
And so there we go.
mm.
Now, in this case, let me view, I'm going to hit view and fit on screen. Now, with regards to the edges, let's see here. Actually, I'm going to have to go in a little bit because my Zoom stuff is in the way. So I'm going to go zoom out. Okay. For example, you can take this lasso tool that's going a little bit beyond, but come on, guys. Just hit that and hit delete. And now we've got a nice looking corner there.
Yeah, better.
And I don't know about over here. This is debatable. You've got a diagonal line here. I hate to get rid of it. This one do you think this draws your attention away from the leaf? This one?
No.
Okay. Well, let's say that's fine.
I have
Okay.
a question, Steve.
Yes.
Can you take that same little bottom leaf out in Lightroom?
Technically, yes, but it doesn't work very well in Lightroom. Nothing like this is one thing that works much better. Just about, I'm very much an advocate of Lightroom for just about everything, but I go to Photoshop for things like that.
Okay,
Photoshop does a much better job. And why can't I get rid of this bar? It's in my way.
We don't see I don't see a bar in your way.
I know, but you don't see it, but it's in my way for what I'm trying to do. Okay. So anyhow, now that you mention that, okay, that's the answer. You can do it better. We'll have a class on some other things you can do more advanced in the
How
future.
about working on the highlights, the stem of the leaf right in the middle, it seems, or pretty close, is really blown out. Can you get some more detail in that?
Here?
No, the big leaves and keep going up. What's the whitest thing on the thing
Left.
holding the
Go to the left,
leaves?
Stephen. Right at the
In-
edge of
in
the
the
leaf
middle
on
of
the
the-
left.
Oh, up here?
No, on the left
Oh.
of the leaf.
The white,
where-
white
Leaf.
is
Oh,
Right
right here.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you get some more
Uh,
detail in that?
What do you suggest I do?
Well, you could either do over the whole thing of go into highlights. Let's see. So you would go into, well, not now, it would have to be highlights.
Yeah, it's this, just by moving this over, this pretty much tells
Uh-huh.
me, I understand your question very well, but I think this is just plain blowing out no matter what.
All right.
You see, I'll move that over. What other possibilities?
You could
Let's
clone
Let's
it
look at
out.
the tone curve. See, even then, it's
Yeah.
Mhm.
nothing. So
Yeah, Doug, what I heard you had a suggestion, Doug.
Yeah, you could take the clone tool and clone the
Oh.
leaf
yes, you can.
has the color to it and just
Mhm.
try and clone over top of the blown out area of the leaf.
Mhm.
Get a small diameter brush.
Let me get this out of the way again. Yeah, we could take the, oops. We could select just this area here, for example, approximately. And, okay, so that's what we want to add color to. There's, as Lonnie said many times, there's 12 and a half ways to do anything in Photoshop. So I'm going to pick edit. What am I got here? I got a layer. Oh, let me flatten the image because I did that. So I go edit, content aware fill. And now I'm going to pick maybe right in here. And you'll see over here, see how it's filled now?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And
That's good.
select, deselect. Now, how does that look?
I think it's better.
Much better, yeah.
I might want to use this tool called the, we're really getting deep here. I forget-
Band-Aid.
Don't, come on.
What
The
happened to
colors
the?
are all right, but the lines are
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got
what
those little
happened?
kind of messed up.
whoop-de-doos going.
Yes, that's why I'm using the spot healing brush, and it needs to be a little smaller. Smaller. Okay, now I can kind of go over here and soften those lines. What happened here? Oh, I forgot to flat. Every time you do these things, you got to flatten the image. Okay. So. What do you think?
That's better.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
So. This is a tool I use a lot. Another thing, remember when I selected this with the quick select and collected that area? Sometimes I find it better, this may not be a good example, to use the lasso and just not quite make it kind of rugged to avoid what we were talking about before of having these lines in the photo. Okay. So that's it for file, close. We're going to go to picture. What follows next? What are we
Save. Oh,
Let's see here.
Number 2.
Yes. Just a second. Yes, we're going to go to number 2. Thank you, Amy. What happened here? Oh, somehow I messed up. But anyhow, this is photo number 2. Open with Photoshop. Okay. Now this picture is mostly about cropping. Man, I wish I could get rid of this thing and block my way. So anyhow, how would you crop this? Anybody got any ideas?
I kind of like it the way it is.
yeah.
Same here.
I mean, that
I
wing
would
is pretty
probably
close to the
crop-
edge.
Go ahead, Amy.
That wing is really close
I
to
would
the
not crop this anymore the way it
Right.
is.
I wouldn't
But
either,
you-
because you got
but-
that eye on the upper third.
What I would do is to make this a little easier to see, drag this down to the bottom. I wish I could get rid of. This thing keeps floating in my way. I'm gonna have to.
I would reverse crop and add to the bottom to make
That's
the
what I was gonna
wingtip
say.
a little
Good
further
call.
away from the edge.
Yep.
Here's what I would do, and I liked it a lot. What I did with it, with the cropping tool, this bird needs room to fly, so we obviously need something here. This wing, you need a little space there, and he needs a little headroom. So first, let's get this where it's okay. Now, see, that's right on his eye. That line, you see it?
Yeah.
Now I've got up here, delete cropped. No, I've got content aware clicked on. So I just check and it's going to go to work. That's kind of what you call reverse cropping, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to give him a little headroom and I'm going again using rule of thirds. Look where his eyeball is.
Mhm.
Mhm.
but I'm going to add at the bottom. So I'm going to go just a little higher right now. We'll see. And okay. Now just a little at the bottom, and we still may need some fine tuning, but let's see. Oops, sorry, guy. Took him out of the water. Let's see, I gotta fix that. All right. So just a little bit more. And there we've got that eyeball lined up perfectly. So view, get on screen. What do you think?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way better.
That's a lot better. The original one was how I shot it,
Hmm.
because when you're shooting flying birds, you don't have a lot of time to think about composition. You just want to get the shot. So this was a great shot, but it needed composition needed adjustment.
Mhm.
And I did that with the cropping tool in Photoshop. So,
And didn't Jeff say that you should have the bird, a little extra space?
exactly. That was what I didn't like about the original. Where is the bird going to fly to?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Mhm.
Oh, so let's move on. And now we're going to have demonstration with photo number 3. Where's my folders? Well, evidently photo 3 is in file 2. Okay, so this is the one we're going to work with. And it's going to be a little bit different thinking here. Now notice so far all I've worked with are JPEG. A lot of you only shoot in JPEG. And so this is JPEG. And anybody have any idea what it is?
Water with droplets. Or
Yep. And this is pretty much how it looked. And in this case, I don't want to present it the way it looked. It basically almost looked like a black and white and dark out and stuff. So I want to go to this brightness and contrast. Get it over here, I can see it. And I'm going to start by increasing the brightness a little, contrast a lot. And the tone curve, I want to go to, let's try mid-tones darker. And so you get the basic idea that here, I don't think the colors affect anything because it looks mostly black and white. So we wouldn't adjust that. So does that look better?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it stands out more.
Yeah. And like I said, in this case, this is not a journalism photo. This is a photo where you're trying to be artsy fartsy.
And you could actually add color and make it really artsy.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Just a quick side note on that. I think you guys have seen me do this a lot on filters. We've got the layer. I got to flatten it again. Okay. Filters. Remember, Photoshop has these neural filters, and there's one that I use a lot because I like the effect. And that is under style transfer. Go down here to is that under? Oh, maybe it's color transfer. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Nope, that's not it either. What what's the one that has the color?
Colorized?
Uh,
No, it's for black and white.
that's for black and white. Yeah. Landscape. Well, anyhow, let's just go with, in this case, because we mentioned color, let's go with color transfer. And which one do you think you'd like to see this with?
Do the colorful one with what your the
Yeah.
hand is right on. Yeah.
That looks good.
Mm.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, wow. Pretty
Wow.
cool. Whoops.
there you go.
Yep. This is right up
No, no.
Mr. Foreman's alley.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Nothing
beautiful.
you can do.
Kind of thing they're talking about, so.
Ken,
Steve,
we-
if you
Wonder what
can,
time I've got time.
Ken, we
why
can
don't
hear
you
you.
try and rotate it horizontally and move the stronger color of the curves of the splashes to the right side.
Okay, let me finish there. All right, edit, image rotation. And we want to go counterclockwise.
No, the other way. Flip horizontally.
Okay, image
Undo that.
rotation. Well, we'll just keep going. 180. Is that what you mean?
Well, I was going to keep it horizontal, but put the
Oh.
stronger curves and everything on the right side,
Oh, I see. All right.
blacker area leading in on the left.
All right. So we go image rotation 90. There.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's much more pleasing on the eye.
Wow.
Good call. Doug.
Good call,
Yeah, it
Doug.
looks like I'm underwater looking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I
Is that
like
how things looked after your surgery, Kevin? Okay, we're going to cover
Yes.
one more photo and let's see, close all. For today, we're just going to do one more. What did I do wrong? Edit.
Trying to save it.
There we go. Don't save. All right. Okay, now we're going to go to folder number 4, which is not in number 4. And I take a lot of pictures of things like this and I save them for when I want to change the background
Yeah.
of, oh, I hit the wrong thing. Sorry. Let me get out of this. All right. And go back to my. Okay. Open with Photoshop. Okay, this is the raw, this is the only raw file I'm showing you. Everything else has been JPEG. This is a raw file I took of this fence. And so if I'm going to save this to use as a background, the first thing I got to do is crop it. And I'm not going to be too precise here. I just want to show the process. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe right there. I might rethink that, but so now I've saved this as the background, but and I could have this raw file, this raw image will always be there, and depending on what I'm going to use it for, I can make a lot of changes to it. Brightness and contrast, obviously. Like that, which maybe you'd want more contrast. It will kind of depend on the subject that's going to be in front of it.
Mhm.
I can change the color balance. You know, for some, it might look, this might be better.
That's nice.
That doesn't do anything for me. on that. Yellow and blue.
Mhm.
Oh, it's mostly the cayenne that gives me, you know, for some situations, this might be best. Someone in here. I can.
That's the last price. Okay. And let's see how many.
Here and go strong contrast. Yeah, you get the, I just wanted to show that really there's no difference in editing in Photoshop with RAW versus JPEG. What's so funny?
I'm picking up another conversation.
Yeah.
Who are we-
Anthony's.
Anthony, we can hear you. Can you mute yourself on the computer? Because we can hear your conversation.
Okay. Anybody else want to do anything else with this? Oh, no.
In the other photo, you rotated it.
Yeah.
Is there a way you can rotate it so that the lines are not square up and down? They go sideways? I mean,
Diagonally.
slanted, diagonal, yeah, diagonal.
Slanted would be different than just the road on this. Well, go ahead, Stevie.
Yeah. That's okay, Robin. So anyhow, one thing you could do with this, for what you're talking about, there's a couple of possibilities. I'm going to go to perspective wrap. Okay, and then kind of put this thing in first around it, and then say drag this one, and now my check mark is blocked again. I'm sorry. I have to hit warp here, and
Oh,
so
there you go.
there you go. That
Oh,
might be
interesting.
nice.
Okay.
That might be nice for something. Now this perspective wrap that I just warp that I just used, in Lightroom they have a tool that pretty much does the same thing. But with this, you can do a little bit more, and 90% of the time, Lightroom is fine. But a lot of times, if I've got a weird angle and a lot of building, I'll go to Photoshop and use this tool instead.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see here. Okay, okay, see this here, this veteran
Mhm.
that I took and posted. You can see what I originally shot him, that was the background.
Mhm.
I replaced the background with this,
Mhm.
and I think it looks much better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I thought about just darkening the background, but in some cases, that's what I would do, and it would work fine. But
I'd still put a vignette on the one that you replaced the wall. And that will give the wall not such a flatness. If you put a vignette on it, it would give it a little variation of light to make it not look so stark.
I did give it a vignette because this was in Photoshop and it created a TIFF. Then the TIFF went into Lightroom, and when it was in Lightroom, I applied the vignette.
Because
So you're seeing it
the
before.
corners don't look darker to me than
Well,
And
if I go to Lightroom and show you, it will be. Because this exports it to Lightroom.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, so. Whoa. What happened here? Let's get into. Is that? Okay. This control. This did not work as a black and white. It's horrible. Okay. Now let me look, history. Oh, I got to go back to the, I have to go to the raw. So let me go to folder. Maybe you caught me, Amy. I thought for sure
I
I
did.
had on it. Let's see.
I don't see a vignette.
Well, we'll find out what I did. Okay. Go to develop in history. And edited in Photoshop and exported. You're right, I did not. So let's do that. As Mrs. Myers.
It's either a spray bottle or a vignette. Those are my go-tos.
Yeah,
You're right.
That's
That
it.
looked
That's
better.
good.
Thanks.
Much better.
So I'm going to export this.
That was a good demonstration of what the vignette can really do.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah,
Export.
like an immediate reaction I had.
The background looks more natural, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
can I ask another question?
Sure.
Can you select the background? And, with a mask?
Oh,
And
in
then,
Lightroom? In Lightroom?
Yeah,
Yeah. Go back to develop, go up here at the top, masking and background. Now
Yeah.
see, I already replaced. And,
right.
and so now I
And
can,
now give that some increase the texture, bump the contrast.
yes, hang on. Texture. Clarity.
Personally, I want to decrease the texture and make it go out of focus a little.
Oh, you do? Oh.
Yeah, I just want to throw it out just because it's getting to be competing with the
Oh, I
subject.
see, okay, sure, yeah.
That stucco is tack sharp.
Yeah, I just,
And it has a little bit of cross lighting to it, so you can see texture. And his face, he's backlit slightly, so he's got light on his shoulders and the top of his hat, but his face has no light on it. So I just would like it to kind of go a little more in tune with the photograph. With the
Oh,
image.
I did as much, well, at least quickly, as much as I could do with that concept here in Lightroom. You can see I've softened it quite a bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I think it looks good.
Before I used it in Photoshop, I could have done that before I used it. So anyhow, let's there we go. It's been an hour with you guys and I still have a clean slate.
That was a good demonstration, Steve.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very useful.
Very good.
Stop share.
Just the right amount of information.
Mhm.
I am inspired.
Okay, I hope I've inspired you. And like I said, I know John Boland, when I tried to show him Lightroom, he just seemed confused. He says he likes using Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wish he had been here today.
Well, he can watch it.
Yeah, but keep in mind, these editing tools are basically, they're basic to any program out there. As we're going to see in the future, we'll be covering cell phones, we'll be covering Lightroom Classic. And Captain Larry, is he still there? What was the one he uses a lot? Snap?
Snapseed.
Seed.
Snapseed.
Yes.
Yes.
Snapseed. We could have him show us the editing tools there. So, and
Yeah,
Alan uses,
Steve?
huh?
I hate to tell you this, but we're gonna have you do this again because I don't think you hit record.
Yeah, he's
Maybe.
recording.
That's recording. The little
Oh,
button,
good.
little-
I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
I thought